Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like we need to prepare for Armageddon. That's not me saying it. That is from the United States military. Yes, you guys heard that right. The United States military are telling people to prepare for Armageddon. I don't mean like out of context Armageddon. I mean a biblical context Armageddon, the Battle of Armageddon, the end times, good versus evil. That's what the United States military are telling people. Not just the odd one kook. This is happening on a nationwide scale. Also, excuse me, NATO intercepts Iranian missile heading towards Turkey. So it does look like now Iran is attacking NATO. But hang on a minute, everyone. Remember when I said this? Listen, guys, look. Do you know what? I feel myself getting radicalized right now because the stuff I'm telling you, because the stuff that I come on these live streams, and part of the reason why I come on these live streams and why I started these social media platforms, because I used to work at government level, at the highest levels. I would tell people what was coming and what they needed to do within 30 seconds of that request going out. 30 seconds, I would say, yep, that's the outcome. This is what you need to do. Let's talk about aliens. They didn't like that. They didn't want to listen. But look, guys, you guys have been following me for a while. You guys know that I tell you the truth. I tell you what's coming. I give you my uncandid analysis, opinion, speculation. I give you guys dates, timings, and the direction of travel that we are in. And listen, we are heading nowhere good. So let me repeat that again. NATO intercepts Iranian missile heading towards Turkey. So can you guys remember? Let me share this with you actually. So can you guys remember when I might, you guys might be able to remember, you might not. I've definitely said it a few times. I've said quite a while that NATO is over. It means nothing. So when people think, and I'm gonna flip this to the Eastern Europe Ukraine conflict. So when people think that, oh, if you fire a missile at a NATO country, all the NATO countries are going to fire back in unison. Turns out you can fire missiles at a NATO country and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Absolutely diddly swat happens, guys, all right? So, look, you know how I've told you so many times, I'm giving you guys a story. I was sitting with two high-ranking British politicians. You will know their names. I'm not going to mention them. Oh, Sean, you're not going to mention them. No, I'm not going to mention their names because I'm still friends with them. I talk to them on a daily basis, and I'm not going to mention them, right? So I was sat there with two high-ranking British politicians, and one of them, and I said, yeah, the Russians they will attack Poland at some point. It's probably going to be a while, and they said, oh, Sean, that would be an Article 5 issue, and NATO would respond. I was like, what? He's like, yes, Sean, that would be an Article 5 issue. NATO would respond. I said, what do you mean an Article 5, mate? He's like, well, an attack on one member state is deemed an attack on all member states. And listen, if you're watching, right, I love you, right? If you're watching, I love you. And, you've got fantastic hair. You've got fantastic hair. It's not as good as mine, but it is fantastic. The fact that it's not as good as my hair it's not anything bad. I'm just saying that's the reality. However, I'm clearly right? So, in that conversation with two high-ranking British politicians, I said to them, no, actually, NATO Article 5, because I'd read the whole document, and this is kind of what I do. I said, no, actually, NATO Article 5 says, yes, an attack on one member state is deemed an attack on all member states. And then it also goes on the paragraphs below that nobody seems to listen to, nobody seems to read. It's so fascinating how we have people in charge right now of the world who are perceivably buffoons. So NATO Article 5 states, yes, an attack on one member state is deemed an attack on all member states. The NATO Security Council will convene and decide what action necessary to bring peace and stability back to that region. Can you guys remember when I was giving you the exact same example in Poland? Okay, so what happens if the Russians and nobody listen, we're dealing with dimwits. We are dealing with dimwits everywhere, literally dimwits everywhere. By the beard of Zeus, I need a drink. Right, tonight is not the night to be sober, guys. We're dealing with dimwits everywhere, right? Listen to this. The Iranians have fired missiles towards Turkey. Turkey is a NATO country. NATO have done nothing. Niet, zip, zilch, zippy, zippity-doo. Who does number 2 work for? I also like to play dangerously. We are dealing with Austin Powers. It feels like right now, it feels like we have Austin Powers in charge of us. That's what you should hear when Keir Starmer comes into Parliament. Hi, baby. Like, that's literally what we're dealing with right now. Honestly, the levels of incompetence are phenomenal. Phenomenal levels of incompetence. And look, I've not done it yet, but very soon I am about to release all the correspondence I've sent to the British military, the government, the MOD, since 2022, telling them, and I don't know where I'm going to do this. I might do this at GB News, and I might do it at Sky News. I might just publish it open source and let you guys deal with it. I've been warning about exactly what's happening right now, and I've been giving solutions, cost-effective solutions. Nobody's been listening, which I deem to be gross misconduct. So remember when I said to you guys that, where am I going with this? Right, okay. So I said, I'm sat there with two British, high-ranking British politicians, and they're saying, "Oh, Sean, an attack on one member state." I said, yeah, okay, whatever, right, okay, yeah, whatever. When I said an attack on Poland would happen at some point. Now, let's put this into context, okay? Poland, NATO, Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Iran, Turkey, NATO, the Middle East, right? The Iranians have just fired missiles at Turkey. Intercepted, yes, I admit. Now, NATO have done nothing. Like I said they would, because Article 5 is not worth the paper it's written on. Neither is anything else apart from Article 4. And I'm not going to go into that because I've done it to death. But Article 4 does have teeth. Article 5 does not. If, for example, now the Russians are, just for example, if the Russians are looking in at the situation in Iran and they say, oh, so Iran can fire missiles at Turkey and there's no response. Oh, so now let me throw this out there. If the Russians take out several airfields in Turkey, the F-16, not Turkey, in Poland, the F-16s are being flown from, and then says, yeah, we're done now, there's going to be no more missile strikes. NATO Article 5 clearly states that an attack on one member state is deemed an attack on all member states. Tick, we got that. That's ferocious, right? No, that's not what it means. The Security Council will convene, decide what action to take, whatever action to take that is necessary to bring peace and stability back to that region. Well, if there's no more missile strikes and there's no troop boots on the ground in Poland, how do you bring peace? What are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? It's ridiculous. NATO's not worth the paper it's written on, guys. Right, let me start with my opening monologue because I'm absolutely furious tonight, guys. I am. I'm in such a mood. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable, the mood I'm in tonight. I don't think you guys have any idea how furious I am tonight. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to look on the chat quickly. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the new, right, okay, actually, We are on the new live streams now, okay, where I prioritize the members chats, because I can on the little chat bar there, I can I can see the members on the chat now. I couldn't before, but that's my own fault. And I think tomorrow night we are going to try with members only chat. Because, listen, I think we all agree the chat gets wild. I struggle to get everybody's comments, and it's really difficult. Like when the chat's going up really quickly. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'll put the chat on the screen because you guys, you guys deserve better. Right, let me jump down. Can't believe, 3.5 men is saying, can't believe NATO are being fired upon and the US have begun submarine warfare. Yeah, who would have thought it, ladies and gentlemen? NATO countries are now being fired upon. Memphis, I wouldn't be flexing about not paying £2 a month. It's not, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Right, evening all. All right, I'm just jumping down, guys, because lots of comments. John Thistlesway, is it incompetence or it's strategic? Do you know what? Yeah, maybe it is strategic planning. Listen, and on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about strategic planning, if anybody's got children at school right now, I'm going to talk. Before I jump onto my opening monologue, there's something going around right now called school wars. If you guys know what school wars are, please put it in the chat. So we got a letter today from school. Thank you, Sophie Page, for becoming a member. And Sophie Page, I hope you are going to be a powerful, fantastic, amazing and beautiful contributor to this channel, like all the members are. So just quickly, there's something going around at the, and this is before my opening monologue. And listen, guys, my opening monologue, the United States are telling their soldiers to prepare for Armageddon. And I don't mean Bruce Willis and Aerosmith and what's her name? The elf, what's her name? Arwen. Go on. The guy from Aerosmith's daughter. Is it Liv Tyler? Liv Tyler. I don't mean Bruce Willis type Armageddon. I mean biblical end times. Yes, I'm saying it. The US military are not in isolated isolated locations. They are telling their soldiers to prepare for Armageddon. Yes, actual Armageddon, guys. Biblical end times. That's what they're saying. However, let me just excuse me. Let me just throw this out there because there's something going around at the moment in the United Kingdom, and it's called school wars. So we got do you know what? Let me see if I can read this letter for you. Where's my email? Right, I'm gonna read. I might have deleted it. Give me a second. Yeah, I think I've deleted the email. So there's something going around at the moment in the United Kingdom called school wars, and it's where excuse me. And it's where schools are encouraged to fight each other. So like school A versus school B will commence a battle at said time at said location. Now, these school wars are involving children. Oh, hang on a minute. I've literally just got another message right now. Right. Okay. Let me read. Okay. Right, let me read this. We have been made aware of a national trend that has developed through social media and is now relevant for pupils in where I live. I'm not going to mention that. We have been working with our schools across the something. I'm not going to mention that. And the latest information update. As a something, we give our school support and take advice and guidance from the local authorities. Yeah, gay, don't. You should take advice from me. we have been made aware of social media posts circulating around school safety. However, there is currently no information. Right. Right. Okay. So we're talking about school wars there. Sorry. So there's this thing going around at the moment called school wars, where it's on social media and they're encouraging kids from different schools to fight each other. Does that not sound like civil war to you guys? So when these kids grow up, what do you think they're going to be used to? They're going to understand. They're going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Acclimatized to fighting. They're going to be acclimatized to chaos and carnage and us versus them and division. That is literally what the state of where we are right now in the United Kingdom, guys. Okay, people are turning to social media for this stuff, and it's absolutely insane. School wars is a real thing, guys. Zoe Dean's become a member as well. Thank you so much, Zoe Dean, for becoming a member. I know Zoe's going to be a powerful member. She's going to be a powerful, beautiful, fantastic, contributing member, as she always has been. Lulu Dixon as well has become a powerful, fantastic, amazing, and beautiful. Listen, guys, all of you guys who have become members tonight, I think you guys are the best looking members we've got. I think you are. You definitely are. Listen, I'm not meaning anything negative to those guys who are already members, but we've got some good looking members joining tonight. Right, listen, let me jump onto my opening monologue. Right, and if there's any comments... while I'm doing my opening monologue, I do apologize. I won't be able to get them, right? Okay, so this is the article that I'm... right, let me get rid of the ads. Right, this is the article I... Gentlemen, this story out of the US military is insane. This is absolutely insane. So, as the war with Iran, Operation Epic Fury, enters its sixth, are we six or are we five? I don't know, maybe sixth or fifth day. I can't remember which one. But as we continue with Operation Epic Fury, according to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, the MRFF, a respected non-profit watchdog that fights for the religious freedom and constitutional protections in the armed forces, they have been flooded with reports from American service members since the strikes began on Saturday. The group reports over 200 complaints within the first 48 hours and growing rapidly from personnel across every branch in the US military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and even the Space Force, guys. Even the Space Force in the United States are being told to prepare for Armageddon. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Now, this is spanning 40 units at over 50 installations worldwide. These are not isolated incidents. They're from troops in support status, some potentially deployable to the Iran theater at any moment. The core allegation of this, guys, and what I'm talking about here, the prepare for Armageddon, the core allegation is commanders are framing the war not just as a strategic necessity, but as a biblical prophecy. Yep, I'm saying that, guys, biblical prophecy. One non-commissioned officer, or NCO, as we like to call them, writing anonymously on behalf of 15 others, including 11 Christians and a Muslim and a Jew, described, and this is from the article I shared with you guys, okay? Excuse me. Described their combat unit commander opening a readiness briefing by urging troops not to fear the conflict. Instead, he reportedly told them, allegedly for entertainment purposes, he told them it was all part of God's divine plan, citing passages from the book of Revelation about Armageddon. I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is from the mainstream media. I just shared with you guys the headline. I'm not making this up. This is from the mainstream media. So they're talking about the book of Revelation and Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. Like, I don't even know where I go with this. I don't know where I go with this. One of the commanders, allegedly, for entertainment purposes, of course, guys, listen, you guys know I have to caveat these things, but this is from the article I just shared with you guys. So listen, if you're joining for the first time and like you're trying to get context with what I've just said, literally just like that little thing down below, scroll it back like 2 minutes or something. And I shared with you guys the article that I'm going from, and I'm not making this up. This is out in the mainstream, okay? They are saying, a commander is saying, allegedly, reportedly, that Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and to mark the return of Jesus to earth. Look, I don't know what you guys think about this. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical, but like, I'm less skeptical now than I was. I'm less skeptical now than I was a couple of years ago, because it's very difficult not to see this stuff happening in front of us. It's very difficult not to see this. But like, there's two parts of my brain, right? There's the logical part of my brain. I'm thinking, right, okay, well, if somebody's controlling the narrative, a good way to get people to obey is just say it's biblical context and you have to do it because it's part of the Bible. Yeah, okay, we do it. Like, that's one part. And the other part is like, well, do you know what? Maybe this is real. Maybe Jesus is going to return. Maybe the Battle of Armageddon, which is in, I think it's in northwest Israel. So the mountain, or is it the mountain? A hill? So Armageddon is a mountain. I think it's a mountain or a hill in Israel, in modern day Israel, and that's what they talk about, the Battle of Armageddon. So this echoes a pattern of religious framing around Donald Trump and Iran that goes back further. If you guys can remember, back in June 2025, during the earlier phase of heightened Israel, Iran, United States tensions, U.S. ambassador to Israel, what's his name? Mike something, Huckleberry or something. I can't remember. Himself, a former Baptist pastor and longtime Trump ally, sent the president a lengthy text message that Trump publicly shared on his Truth Social. And I'm going to jump onto the Truth Social in a minute because, wow, Donald Trump has just pulled a Swizzler. I believe you will hear, and this is what he said to Donald Trump, I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. He urged Trump to listen to God's guidance in deciding on strikes or involvement against Iran. Now, when I hear that, I'm literally, like, objectively, right? I'm thinking about the Vril Society. I'm thinking about Operation Paperclip. I'm thinking about MK Ultra. I'm thinking about 5G towers. I'm thinking about mind manipulation. And I'm thinking, right, okay, am I going to let my eyes tell me the truth? Or am I going to listen to lies? So I will be clear with you guys. I don't know. I've got a big question mark, right? So I don't know. I could be swayed either way. However, he said to Donald Trump, so this is a message from the ambassador to Israel to Donald Trump. You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. I think that's pretty powerful. I feel like lots of moments have sought me as well, especially today when I was trying to start my lawnmower. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You guys who've tried to start a lawnmower after winter, it's an absolute faff. So similar accounts today describe commanders gleefully jubilant with enthusiasm, telling troops they should be excited because this conflict fulfills end-time prophecy. Yep, I said it, guys. That's what they're saying in the United States. So as far as the people in the United States are concerned, this is not just a conflict. This is a holy war. This is Donald Trump anointed by God. And listen, he might have been. I don't know. I don't go to the White House and say, right, who's been blessed by Jesus in here? Is it just me? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just reporting on what's coming out on the mainstream and giving you guys my speculation, right? I am skeptical about this, right? But do you know what? The wild stuff that's happening right now, it wouldn't surprise me if Jesus turned up or aliens turned up or whether it was Project Bluebeam and then we're all just like slaves to the New World Order. Like, in equal amounts, literally in equal amounts, guys. So I don't know. I'm just telling you guys what's happening, and in equal amounts, I think it could be either one. Right, let me jump back onto the chat, guys. My message, good, fine, sir, with the fine hair. Right, I'll get that in a second. James Conley's also become a member. Thank you, James, for becoming a member. Listen, James, I know that you are already a fantastic contributor to this channel. Thank you for becoming a member. You're most appreciated. And Silence with the most fantastic thumbnail I have ever seen. Thank you for becoming a member, Silence. You are most appreciated. Right. Let me jump onto the chat, guys, and get these. Let me get these messages. Right. So I do apologize if I'm missing anyone's chat, guys. I am going to prioritize. I'm going to prioritize the members, obviously. Right, let me jump up. Right, Googleinos, what comment? Right, where's Googleinos' comment? I don't know where Googleinos' comment. Oh, hang on a minute. Lisa Jane. GB News reports that Royal Navy sees nearly 80% reduction in personnel. Yeah, it's embarrassing. The state of the Royal Navy is absolutely embarrassing, guys. If you're in Britain, if you live in Britain right now, like, I think we have like three warships or something, right? You know what I used to make fun? So I used to joke, right, and say, why can't the British Royal Navy stop the rubber dinghies? Maybe, listen, I'm saying this right now, maybe the reality is they just can't. Maybe they just physically can't stop those rubber dinghies. Band again is saying, Book of Revelation is unfolding. AI will confirm. Band again, can you give me more information on this, please, mate? Because I'm genuinely 50-50 and I don't want to be sold down a Swizzler. Warriors, Santi Todd is saying the Warriors need to come out and play. I think that is a reference to that movie, like the 60s movie or something. Emma Jane Taylor is saying, I'm open to this possibility with the Bible messages. Look, guys, let me be quite clear with you, right? I tell you guys what I think, what I believe, what I speculate, right? When I said to you guys that there was going to be an invasion on the 28th, like 2 years before it happened, when I gave you guys the exact date of the invasion, of the conflict in Iran, when it would start, the exact date, by the day. And look, if anybody wants to call me out and say I didn't say it, well, do you know what? We did it collectively, right? That's because that's the information I'm seeing. And right now, I'm literally 50-50 with this biblical context stuff. I'm 50-50. Like, a little push either way, and like honestly, so I'm exactly the same as you, Emma J Taylor. Emma Jane Taylor, sorry. Right, I'm just jumping down. I'm trying to find Googleinos' comments. Googleinos, can you put your comments again, mate? They may have been restricted. Googleinos, your comments may have been restricted, mate. I can't find them. I'm looking. Four Paws is saying, good evening, everyone. A few more greenies, which is great. Welcome. Listen, Four Paws, I think Four Paws, you started this yesterday, right? Because Four Paws said, Sean, you need to read the members' comments. I was like, what's the difference? And I was looking, and it was only because you said this, Four Paws. I was looking, I was thinking, right, and like literally, so when I'm looking at the chat, there's a little emoji by the side of them, and I honestly, guys, I just didn't see. I didn't see, and I'll take that one on the chin. That's my fault, guys, so I do apologize. Bandagain is saying Bible is 50% prediction that have come true. Fact, so 50% have not come true. Dave Dutch, I'm 50-50. Yeah, I think we're all 50-50. I mean, we're just looking at things and we're like, yeah, we don't know. Right, Googling us. Is this your comment? Favorite for Supreme Leader of Iran. Yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, look, he's going to be dead pretty soon. I would say sorry. So I shouldn't laugh because honestly, I shouldn't laugh. Right, because honestly, I feel disgusted about myself, right? These are people, right, do you know what? They're bad people. Should I laugh? I don't know. Right, let me just read the comment, right? So, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the favorite to succeed the supreme leader in Iran is his son. Now, he spent I think he spent 8 months in the United Kingdom because he could not get he couldn't get excited about anything. And if you guys are reading Googleinos' comment, you guys can understand. So I don't know. Maybe it's just you couldn't make like a lot of this stuff. You couldn't make this up. Oh no! Hang on a minute. Daily Echo, winter. Right, let me Google this, Donna. Right, right. Okay, I'll share this with you guys now. I'm getting this in real time, guys. I'm getting this in real time. So I've not read this article. Let me. I'll share it with you guys now. Winton Primary School sees partial lockdown after incident. Right, I'm going to close it down. Right, I'll just read this because there's. I don't want you guys to get the ads. So a primary school in Winton saw a partial lockdown take place after a pupil became threatening to other students while in possession of lunchtime cutlery. See, I don't. Honestly, you should have gone to my school. It has been confirmed that some classrooms at Winton Primary School were placed under partial lockdown so this was last week, due to a pupil behaving in a threatening manner with cutlery from the site's canteen. Some parents have expressed their frustration and were made aware of they weren't made aware of the incident until their children told them after the school day had finished, with one parent adding that children seem terrified to return. I can only assume what the incident was, but I think if we're all assuming the same thing, it probably is the same thing. So that is Winton Primary School sees partial lockdown. Now, this was last week. But what I think this just, highlights a little bit more is that our schoolyards are now turning into crime zones. They really are. Our schoolyards are turning into crime zones. Yeah, listen, nobody can stand up to the US Navy. Nobody can stand up to the US Air Force. Nobody can stand up to the US military. However, the Iranians know this. They're not stupid. It's an absolute no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. There will be, the Iranians will be striking initially. They will striking. Excuse me. They will be striking initially. The Iranians will be striking getting the West basically to run out of munitions. That's what they're doing. That's what the Iranians are doing. They're getting the West to not even the West. It was out in, oh God, honestly, this gets me so frustrated. There was an article out today from GB News that Britain spent £2 million to take down a drone that was worth £25,000. Yeah, that's the way we're going, guys. It's unbelievable. It is, and people wonder. People wonder why the military is in such a bad condition. It's literally because it's so incompetent. Clarendon is saying we have an enemy in our country. MI5 said 40,000 on the watch list. Yeah, can you imagine if 40,000 people started to kick off in the United Kingdom? Cara Kay is saying social media and the media is affecting young people in a bad way. It absolutely is, buddy. Absolutely. Should be banned for under 16s unless they have a... I don't know where I stand. I don't know where I am on this. I genuinely don't know where I am on this. Because the girls, they have like these group calls at night time. And look, I know this is going to be flawed. What I'm about to say is flawed, and I know it is, but if you guys are parents, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about, right? When I was younger, like 13, 14, we used to go to the park, all right? Somebody used to get a bottle of MJ 2020 or something, and you'd all have a little sip of it. And then you go home to your mum and dad and oh God, you'd be listening to Oasis or something. But the world isn't that world anymore, right? So when the girls are having these like group chats and like group calls and all their other friends are in their houses, you're like, yeah, I know they're safe. So I don't know where I am with this social media thing, guys. I don't know where I am with this. It's, I don't know where I am. I see the negatives and I see all these things that are happening, and it's just really difficult. It's just really difficult to identify. A Shaheed-like drone which targeted. Yes, do you know what? I actually have this here on the news. Is it this one? Yeah, I actually have this, Donna. So let's start with the first video. So thank you, Donna, for that. So let me throw this out there. Those of you guys who were on the live stream,
we're hearing overnight RAF Typhoon, and
so for those of you guys who were on the live stream when this happened, can you guys remember when this happened? And I looked and I said, listen, I don't think this came from Iran. I said the range, the capacity, it's just not coming from Iran. I actually said where I think it was going to come from, and I'll share that with you guys again in a minute. But it turns out that, like I said 3 days ago, turns out I was right, and the mainstream media are now repeating what I said 3 days ago.
F-35B jets continued defensive air operations across the Middle East with support from Voyager air-to-air refueling in defence of British interests and allies. Important, I think, that the word defensive operations and defence is included in that.
Because if we didn't use the word defence, the communities in the United Kingdom would get upset and they'd go stabby, stabby, rammy, rammy. Potentially for entertainment purposes, allegedly, reportedly.
from the Ministry of Defence, as Keir Starmer has made it very clear that is what UK troops are doing, defensive operations only. They can also...
Remember, Britain was not involved in these attacks. We are only conducting defensive operations in defence of British citizens. Remember, we did not take part in these attacks.
Also confirm that a Shaheed-like drone, which targeted RAF Akrotiri...
And remember, Britain did not conduct any offensive operations in Iran. We are only taking defensive actions. Britain was not involved in this attack.
On the 2nd of March, that was the drone that came in at midnight. They are saying that that was not launched from Iran. So that is interesting and significant. They are not giving us any information as yet as to where they think that was launched from.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. They're not telling you where it was launched from. Do you want me to tell you where it was launched from right now, diddly cow? Do you want me to tell you where it was launched from? I'll tell you right now. And do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to tell you guys where it was launched from, and I will tell you where it was launched from exactly like I did the exact day that this incident happened, the 2nd of March. Or was it 2nd or the 1st of March? I can't remember. So I'll tell you exactly right now where it was launched from. I'll tell you the base it was launched from. Let me move over here. Right. What? Black Sea? No, I've gone far too far. Right. There we are. Right. Right. Okay, so here we have RAF Akrotiri. In fact, hang on, can you guys see this? Yeah, so we have RAF Akrotiri. So for those that look, the mainstream media and all the analysts, because they don't know what they're talking about and they're so weak, they don't know what they're talking about. Oh, it could have been blah, 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 blah. Right, I'll tell you exactly where it's launched from. Right, allegedly. This is my speculation, okay? This is my analysis, okay? So you've got RAF Akrotiri here, there, and I would say that this was launched not from Beirut, not from anywhere along that, not from Tripoli, but I would say this has been launched from this location here, Tartus. Because this little beauty, Tartus, that little beauty there, Tartus, that is a Russian naval base. Yeah, a Russian naval base in Tartus. So they will have lots of Russian infrastructure. Remember, this was a Shaheed type drone, and the Russians have a lot of experience using the Shaheed type drones. So I would say, if I was a betting man, I would say that the drone strike came from Tartus, and that was sent over the water to the slaughter to RAF Akrotiri, which is there. That's what I would say, guys. Yes, of course. You know, of course, it could be sent from, could have been sent from Beirut. It could have been sent from Tripoli. Could have been sent from anywhere on this coastline, right? Anywhere on this coastline. However, the proximity and the capacity of Tartus, where the Russian, not airbase, Russian naval bases, it just seems to be a no-brainer. It just seems to be a no-brainer to me, guys. That's where it's being sent from. But don't worry, maybe in a couple of weeks, the mainstream media will come out and they'll say there are unconfirmed reports that the Shaheed type drone was launched at RAF Akrotiri, and remember, Britain was not involved in these attacks. We're just taking a defensive measure. Honestly, like, I see this thing playing out right now, and it's actually funny to me. It's actually funny. Oh, hang on a minute. That's where I used to work. Look up there. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's where I used to work in northeast Syria. That's where we had the office. In Kobani, northeast Syria. Oh, God. Good times and bad times, guys. Good times and bad times. So, yeah. In response to Donna's comment, that's where that's going. Right, just jump it. Right, guys, I'm gonna jump down. Energy firms pull fixed deals. Yeah, we're all swizzled. Energy. Remember how, like, can you guys remember? Energy prices will be going down. Yeah, forget that one. Forget that. Forget the energy prices going down. Cara K is saying social media not group. Yeah. No, but it's all the same thing, right? You know, you've got social media and all the rest of it. Oh, hang on a minute. Google Enos is saying, Sean, I'm giving you breaking reports from just now. Right, let me find this Google Enos and I'll jump down and get this. Listen, I think I am going to have to do Special Brew is so strong, I got completely hammered on it. There's nothing wrong with that, Peabody. Azerbaijan begins amassing troops along the border with Iran. Yeah, so if you guys remember, Azerbaijan was one of the potential safe locations that the United States told that. Remember when that came out? The United States issued a warning to U.S. citizens in Iran that they need to make plans to get out of Iran, but do not depend on the U.S. government. Like, if any, like. Imagine imagine the enormity of that statement, guys. Do not depend on the U.S. government, the most powerful government in the world. What they said is make your way to Turkey or make your way to Azerbaijan, which is on the northwest. Sorry. Googling us is also saying Kurdish fighters based in Iraq have begun a ground push into Iraq, targeting forces of the Islamic regime. Excuse me. So, what happened in 2003? Right. Let me give you a quick history lesson. Right. We need to go back before 2003. Where do I even start? Where do I even start getting this? Okay. So, Saddam Hussein did not like the Kurds in the northwest of Iraq. He didn't like them. He was very bad to them, to say the least. He was ferociously mean to them, right? I'm just going to leave it there. So when the Iraq invasion happened, the Kurds said, look, this is our area. We want to be autonomous. We'll cooperate with the we'll cooperate with the coalition. This is our ground. We are not part of Iraq. We are autonomous. And they actually absolutely flourished. Like, if you go to Kurdistan and then compare that to Baghdad, it's a world apart. It's absolutely a world apart. There's like a little German part of Kurdistan, and there's like a German bar. You can go and get beers and a meal. It's beautiful. It really is. It's a lovely place, Kurdistan. So the Kurdish fighters are very, they're very pro-Western. They are very in line with, Persian, the Persian people. They don't like the Shia Muslims. And the Shia Muslims are now in control of Iraq, and the Shia Muslims are backed up by the Iranian regime, allied with the Iranian regime. So that's why that's happening. Hertzman is saying the US to test Minuteman missiles. You see, there's two things. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know what that means, the Minuteman missiles is the it's the missiles that you can put nuclear weapons in. Now, there's two. Hang on, let me come back to your comment in a second, Lisa. There's a couple of things to this. Okay, testing your Minuteman missile 3 and testing it with a nuclear weapon, they're two different things. Testing the missile, but testing the missile with a nuclear warhead in it are two different things. So I think we need to keep that in context. Lisa Jane is saying US submarine sank Iranian warship. Yeah, that was earlier on today. I think we spoke about that earlier on the previous live stream. James Brooke has become a new member, and James Brooke, thank you so much for your continued support and continued biblical context and scripture. We love James Brooks' comments. Right. Listen, I am jumping. What? All right. Right, guys, there's so many comments on the chat. I am trying to keep up with all the members' comments, but it's really difficult. Concerned citizen on X, fuel panic buying a set across UK petrol pumps. We told you guys, didn't we? We absolutely told you guys that this was coming. The Battle of Armageddon. Yeah, right. Listen, let's jump back on track, guys, okay? Because the main news of the day is from the United States, okay? The United States are telling their troops to prepare for the Battle of Armageddon. I'm not making that up. Hang on. Oh, that's not it. Hang on. Oh, hang on. Where are we? I've closed the thing down. Hang on. Prepare for Armageddon. We'll do that. I did have it up. Right, listen, if anybody's trying to find out what I'm talking about, this was an article released earlier on, and I shared it previously on the live stream. But the United States military are telling their soldiers to prepare for Armageddon. No, I'm not making that up. I'm not changing any of those words. Now, this is from a report from an agency called the Military Religious Freedom Federation or something. And, you know, what they basically do is they go around and they say, right, who's got religious freedom in this military unit? However, there have been over 200 complaints in the first 48 hours since the attacks on Iran started, from personnel across every branch: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, even the freaking Space Force, guys, even the Space Force, spanning more than 40 units and 40 installations worldwide. These are not isolated gripes. These are from troops in the support or support ready status, some potentially ready to deploy to Iran at any moment. Now, the core allegation is that commanders in the United States are framing the war not just as a strategic necessity, but as a biblical imperative. One NCO, or non-commissioned officer, writing anonymously, and I always question that, but whatever, representing 11 Christians, a Muslim and a Jew, described their combat unit commander opening a readiness briefing by urging troops not to fear the conflict. Instead, he reportedly told them it was all part of God's divine plan, citing passages from the book of Revelation about Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. The commander allegedly said Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark the return to Earth. So, listen, this is not me making this up. This is from mainstream media now. So they're saying that it's the Battle of Armageddon and Armageddon is inbound. Lisa Jane is saying stealth bombers to land at British bases within days. You know, one thing that always strikes me, like, I don't know why the Americans need our permission, right? They're their bases. That's US territory. They can land whatever the fuck they want there. They can literally land whatever the fuck they want. Like, if you've ever been on one of these bases, you know, if you guys, I don't know if anyone has, I have. So when you go on these bases, these United States air bases that are in the UK, you are told quite openly that you are on American soil and you are subject to US law. That's what you get told when you go on these US air bases. Like, you can't even buy anything in the shop unless you have US dollars in Britain. How weird's that? So I am a little bit skeptical when they say, you know, you can't, you know, I'm a little bit skeptical when, you know, Keir Starmer says you're not allowed to land your aircraft or whatever. But listen, whatever. D-Marie Gen X is saying fuel gas. Yeah, exactly. Listen, D-Marie Gen X, you know what? I should have, you know what? Yeah. So you get a few things happening right now. Okay. Can you guys, okay, so this is what's happening right now with the fuel prices and with the price of everything. So the price of everything is rocketing for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Strait of Hormuz is definitely closed, right? So that is definitely going to crank up the oil price. You also get people price gouging, saying, right, let's just crank the price up and blame Iran and blame the war in Iran. Can you guys remember how when Putin invaded Ukraine, the energy companies had their best ever year, profits beyond profits? Can you guys remember that? So, yeah, I totally agree, D-Marie Gen X. You know, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of price gouging going on. The poly market breaking. World's second largest shipping company, Maersk, suspends all cargo bookings from those places around that have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. One thing that I've not even got through half of my stuff. I've got a thing here. Is it that it? No, close that. Is that it? No, not that. I may have closed it down. I think I've just closed it down. Maybe this is it. Hang on. Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Not that one. Oh, hang on. Do you know what? I'm going to share this, actually. Somebody said earlier on, I need to share Professor, what's his name? Right, let me share this. Let me share this. Right. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you think World War III started or it has not, don't take it from me, right? Don't take it from me. Just listen to this one.
Attack Iran. I hope everyone had a nice break and welcome back to the end of the world. So as you know, World War III has started. The United States and Israel have started to attack Iran. And we are now in...
I'm sorry, I just think this guy's brilliant. Honestly, this guy is absolutely brilliant. He gets a few things wrong, but on the whole, he's really good. I mean, really, really good. A lot better than most mainstream commentators. He's really good, but like he's got so much charisma.
The fourth day of this war, and we can expect this war to last for many weeks, possibly also for many years. But I promise you that after this war is done, the world will never be the same again.
And he's absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. When this war is done, however it ends, in whatever context, the world will never be the same again. And that is the absolute reality. Sean, the Azerbaijan troops are on combat readiness. Well, maybe, listen, okay, I'm just throwing this out there, Googleinos. I'm just throwing this out there. So I suspected that the Saudi Arabians would put boots on the ground in in Iran. However, it may be the case that it's the Azerbaijanis that put boots on the ground in that northern region. Whatever the case, I don't see the United States putting boots on the ground for any long-term deployment. Yes, of course, there will be limited U.S. Special Forces raids going behind enemy lines and doing whatever. But I think the meat and, potatoes of this, of the ground forces will be regional forces. And that doesn't sound like, that is not... That doesn't spell, to me, that doesn't spell order and discipline. Oh, so the Kuwaitis, from Donna, the Kuwaitis are holding down on their food. The US is depleting its air defense missiles so quickly that the military could only. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not feasible, right? It's not feasible to send £2 million worth of missiles to take down a drone that's worth $25,000. It's just, it doesn't work like that. William Palmer is saying Judgment Day is now here upon all nations. I am the will of the Almighty, creator of the heavens and the earth himself. Yahweh. Right, guys, I'm going to jump to the bottom. I do apologize again if I'm missing anyone's comments. There's 104 comments and I just can't get them all, guys. I just can't get them all. So I'm going to jump to the bottom to get the most relevant. Right. Marie Genes is saying, Joe, bet they wish they had your drone ship now, Sean. Marie Genex, at some point, right, I'm going to release everything I've sent to the government. I don't know whether I'm going to release that to the newspapers. I don't know whether I'm going to release it to you guys and just have it open source and say, hey, guys, look, this is what I was proposing in 2017. These are the weapon systems. These are the tactics. This is the new method of warfare that I was proposing, all fully costed at a fraction of what they're paying for bullshit now. That would have saved lives and saved the taxpayers as well. Iraq's Islamic resistance, Iran-backed, warns that any country interfering in Iraq or the region, including NATO members such as France, Britain, and Germany, will be considered legitimate targets. I don't think that the okay, so I've spent a lot of time in Iraq, and so I've spent a lot of time in Iraq, right? And the Iraqi army, they were real tough guys. They were real tough guys until someone started shooting at them, right? And when somebody started shooting at them, they went from hero to zero very quickly. Now, I'm never going to make fun of the French anymore. I'm not. I cannot make fun of the French anymore. I can't, because the French are now protecting British assets overseas. However, you know, the Iraqis were throwing their rifles down, throwing their uniforms off quicker than they could get in vehicles when ISIS came in like, was it 2012 or 2013? It was quite embarrassing. Oh, this is new. I didn't realize this. So they're talking about, so the Ministry of Defense are talking about conscription again. I don't, again, you know, so with this, Donna, it's not going to be called conscription when it comes. It will be called something else. But it will not be called conscription. However, you know, if it looks like conscription, smells like conscription, sounds like conscription, gets you to fight like conscripts, you know, the message is on the tin. Sean, the American elites, DD, did not beat the Taliban. Iran is far more advanced than the Taliban. Oh, this, you know what, right? Stop, right? Stop. The Americans did defeat the Taliban, right? 100% the Americans defeated the Taliban. The American politicians defeated their own military. Look, don't forget, I served in Afghanistan right at those harsh times, and I was operating at the highest level you can in Afghanistan, like right at the highest level. So I know 100% that the coalition, you know, the JSOC, is it JSOC? I don't know. I think it's called JSOC. They absolutely defeated the Taliban real quick. And you know what I will say, actually? It was a 3-para battle group in 2006 that defeated the Taliban in Helmand. Yeah, the 3-para battle group, I think it was 2006, maybe 2005. It was a 3-para battle group that defeated the Taliban. The Taliban just did not want to play. You know, you had like 3-para guys going out there, just going out and fighting. There was none of this paperwork, none of this, oh, don't do that, it's against his human rights. They were going out there and they were fighting. And initially, the Taliban wanted to fight. But when they realized every time they started a fight, it ended badly for them, like real badly, they didn't want to fight anymore. And that's how you win. You have to push, you have to drive, you have to keep moving forwards, you have to dominate the ground. You can't give your enemy freedom of movement. Never. You can never let your enemy have freedom of movement. What do I mean by that? If you have an enemy around your patrol base, you need to go and fight him, whatever the cost may be. Because if you let your enemy have freedom of movement, he or she, probably he, will attack you and you will take casualties. So you need to be on the front foot. You need to be pressing them. You need to be pushing them. You need to put them on the back foot. Fight in their backyard. Keep pushing them back. Keep pushing them back. Fight in their backyard. Fight in their front garden. And you keep pushing. You keep expanding until they're defeated. That's how you win a war. You don't win wars by being defensive. Can you imagine if you was a boxer? Right? If you was a boxer and you're going in there and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to be a defensive boxer. I'm not going to punch. You do know you're going to lose, right? You do know you're going to lose if you're just being defensive. Yeah, but it's in line with international law. You do know he's going to kill you, right? You do know that, like, you know, you're in a war and like bad things happen. Yeah, doesn't matter how many British service people go to the candy shop. At least we don't break international law. So yes, Paul Sullivan, the coalition, 3-para battle group in Helmand, the Americans had success other places, absolutely defeated the Taliban. Right, let me jump to the bottom, guys. Guys, listen, there's so many comments. I really should, right. Googleinos are saying I'm giggling. Is everyone laughing? Right, read, right, Google, read, right. Let me leave Google's comments. I will, I'm getting it right. Massive explosion. Right, let me find this. Explosion, Logan, US. Wow, there's actually an SOS alert. Right, give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Right. Right, let me share this now. I'll share this with you now. So this is a big one, guys. This is something big. This is something big. I don't know what it is, but this is big. Well, that's not it. Oh, sorry. Got some ads. Right. Oh God, this winds me up. Right. Right. Okay. I'm gonna go with this from the Hindu Times, right? Because it's the only place that I can share with you guys. Right. So this is what's happening now in the United States in Logan Township. Logan Township explosion, shelter-in-place order within 2 miles of Heron Drive. Right, let's see what we know about this. So right now in the United States, there is a 2 miles of Heron Drive and High Hill Road after building blast. Shelter-in-place order within 2 miles. New Jersey after explosion it took today. Fire department activity in Logan Township and first responder personnel are on location operating at a building explosion. Requests for residents, businesses within 2 miles to shelter in place until further notice. So there's there's definitely something going on at the moment, but this has happened in the last 30 minutes. So let me try and check X and see what we can find. Right, I've got a video here. I don't know how credible it is. Explosions heard. Yeah, so the reports are yeah, I'm struggling with reports, guys. There's various reports. There's a little video here I'm going to share with you guys. Listen, we have global anxiety right now because we're all just waiting for these sleeper cells to strike. Let me be clear. I don't know what this is. I don't know when this is. I'm just going with this because this is on X and this is what they're saying, that this is the explosion. So that to me looks like a gas oil separation plant. Sorry, let me try and find what that said. No, I can't see it.
Mierda, pero fue duro. Y fue allá. Fue hacia aquí adentro. Ahí tiene que haber gente hasta muerta, ¿no? Que no.
Okay, so that's what we're being told happened. To me, that looks like a gas oil separation plant, but I don't know. Let me see what else I can find. Yeah, this is really oh, hang on a minute. Right, this is just out from Young Bob. Right, let me share this with you guys. This is from Young Bob. Let me share this.
Being an intermediate leader. We are just outside the counter demonstration for the mourning of the Ayatollah. Now, many of the Iranian diaspora, unlike the Pakistanis who are giving the vigil, do actually not support the Ayatollah at all. A lot of the Iranian diaspora support the Shah being an intermediate leader. And as you can tell, they're very happy that America is, in fact, intervening within Iran for regime change. Now, I don't agree. Britain should be nowhere involved in this conflict. But it is good to see that compared to the Islamic violence, supporting the Ayatollah, in comparison, we have these people celebrating, dancing, and having cameras.
Okay, so what do you think? Okay, right. So, you know, I said civil war's coming, right? What do you think is going to happen when, so this is in Manchester. So literally in Manchester, you have right now, you have a demonstration of people mourning the Supreme Leader's death. And on the very next street, you have people waving flags in support of the Ayatollah's death. Like, what do you think is going to happen when those two groups meet? I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Sorry, I just want to share that real quick. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start to close this down now. Tomorrow night, Paul Sullivan is saying the Taliban are still there, Sean. So what? Okay, right. If you're in a war, right, and you throw down your weapon, you run, you hide, and then when your opposing force leaves, you jump up and say, "Yeah, we won." That's not winning at all. That is not winning the war at all. That's not winning the war at all. It's not winning the war at all. Right, I'm pretty sure I've just read Googling Us. Have I just done Googling Us's comments? Yeah. So listen, guys, something's going off right now in the United States. Huge explosions have been reported. The information coming out is very limited at this point. It looks like it's something at a gas oil separation plant, but you know, I don't know what that is. However, what we do understand is that we are living in a time of increased anxiety. People are literally just waiting for, people are literally just waiting for some sort of, attack or, whatever it is, sleeper cell activation, lone wolf, whatever it is. Right, listen, guys, I am going to close this down. Yeah, I think I think that's good. Right, I'm going to close this down now, guys. Listen, I do apologize that I've not managed to get everyone's comments. I think tomorrow night, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have the chat open for the members. Now, look, I'm not doing that. Like, it's like, what is it, like £3 or something, like £2? It's literally whatever the lowest thing is, it is. It's just because there's too much stuff going up on the chat, and I know I'm missing a lot of stuff. I really do know I'm missing a lot of stuff, so I do apologize with that. I've just shared Clarendon. I just shared Professor Jang. We love Professor Jang. We love Professor Jang. So I am going to close this down now, guys. Listen, I'll be back on tomorrow morning. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at what time will I be on? I'll be on tomorrow morning at 10, as I normally am. 10 o'clock, the chat will be open. Tomorrow night, the chat will just be for members only. And the reason I'm doing that, guys, is I've just got there's so many comments, and I literally just can't keep up with them all, guys. I really can't. I can't keep up with them, and I don't want to be. And I feel sometimes like I miss people, and, people think I'm missing, and I'm really not. I just can't see them. So, yeah, tomorrow morning, it's going to be as normal. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be on tomorrow afternoon, I hope. But tomorrow evening, it is going to be members only. Anyway, Azerbaijan military has cancelled most leaves for soldiers. Right, well, listen, maybe that's the case then. Maybe it is going to be Azerbaijani soldiers that are on the front line. Azerbaijani soldiers that are on the front line in Iran. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you for all you guys who've become members today. Really do appreciate it. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10, letting you know. I will let you guys know what's coming, right? I don't waffle, bullshit you about what's happening right now. I tell you what's happening in the future. And that's what you all want to know, right? You all want to know what's happening in the future so you can plan your lives today. God, that should be on a t-shirt. I tell you what's happening in the future so you can plan your lives today. God, I'm going to write that down. Somebody remind me that tomorrow. Right, guys, I'll be back on at 8 tomorrow, and I bid you at 10 in the morning. I bid you all good evening.